shouts red light. If your movement is detected afterward, you will be eliminated. With that, let the game begin.
The popular movie series Squid Game has certainly thrilled every movie enthusiast as it portrays a dark, compelling game of survival. However, this movie series does not only focuses on the game itself, it also encapsulates and highlights different life lessons, particularly on how players clench their teeth in order to secure the $1,000,000 prize to pay their large debts that happen because of financial crisis. In short, the storyline is obviously driven by money.
You've hit the head on there, Player 22. That's absolutely interesting. We could get more things about money spending just by watching that movie series. Although, we could get more precise informations by studying mathematics and finance. However, does we really know how significantly important is this in a society where we belong? How about in our daily lives? And that is what we are going to tackle about in this vlog. Get ready with me as we begin the game of identifying terms in mathematics of finance and how does it works. In 3, 2, and 1. Say for example, I am planning to build an apartment that costs 4 million in 3 years as an investment. But my money today is not yet enough. So I have decided to invest it first in an institution that pays 9% simple interest. But the question is, how much money should I invest today to have such an amount in 3 years? And that involves mathematics of finance. But the question is, what is mathematics of finance? I think you're answering in your head right now. That's quite right. There will come a point in our life where we need to have small financial choices. And that is mathematics of finance. It is an application of mathematical method to a financial choices or financial situation. Traditionally, financial banks, hedge funds, investments, and commercial treasuries uses financial mathematics to such problems and situations. We do love money, don't we? And having a fundamental understanding about how your money works, how to manage your money, and how to calculate risk versus rewards will be all beneficial for our future. Now, you will be able to learn some key points about financial mathematics that will be surely helpful for you in the near future. Are you ready to listen to the rest of the players? Now, what are we waiting for? Player 22, please take the way.
Have you ever borrowed money from your siblings whenever your pocket money is exhausted? Or lent him maybe? What happens when you borrow money? Well, of course, you use that money for the purpose you had borrowed it in the first place. Then, after that, you return the amount you have borrowed whenever your parents give you another pocket money. That is how borrowing and lending works at home. But in the real world, money is not free to borrow. You often have to borrow money from the banks in a form of loan. And during payback, you have to pay some more money depending on the amount you have loaned and the time as well. This is called simple interest, and this term is extensively used in banking. What is simple interest? Simple interest is the concept majorly applied in banking, mortgage, automobile, and other financial institution. It is the amount paid on the principal amount of money that is borrowed or loaned to someone. You can also earn interest when you deposit a certain amount in the bank. How to find the simple interest? Simple interest is calculated by finding the product of the principal amount or the money you have borrowed or lent, the rate of interest, and the time period of the loan. It goes with the formula I equals P times R times T. Now, let's have some examples. Jenny had borrowed 50,000 from the bank with an interest of 10%. That will be paid in 2 years. How much interest would she pay? First, let us find the value of the principal amount, time period of the loan, and the rate of interest in the given problem. The principal amount of the given problem is 50,000 pesos. The time period of the loan is 2 years, and the rate of interest is 10%. Then after, find the product of these values, and we will have the result of 10,000 pesos. This means that the 10,000 pesos is the interest amount Jenny would have to pay. Understanding the concept of how simple interest works is not only essential for you to solve problems in class. It is also a fundamental skill that helps you manage your finances. With the basic knowledge of how this concept works, you get to empowered on how to make good financial decisions.
Hi, I'm player 78 and I'll be talking about interest rates. When we say interest in finance, it is a rental or leasing charge to the borrower to use an asset. These assets borrowed can include cash, consumer goods, vehicles, and property. Most lending and borrowing transactions are subject to interest rates. Individuals borrow money to buy houses, fund projects, start or expand businesses, or pay for college tuition. Companies take out loans to fund capital projects and expand their operations by purchasing fixed and long-term land, buildings, and equipment. For loans, the interest rate is applied to the principal, which is the loan amount. The interest rate will be the cost of debt for the borrower and the rate of return for the lender. For example, if player 22 obtained a 500,000 peso mortgage from the bank and the loan agreement stipulates that the interest rate on loan is 4%, player 22 will be required to pay the bank the original amount of 500,000 plus 4% of the actual amount, which totals to 520,000 pesos. A simple interest rate formula was used to obtain the calculations, which is the principal multiplied by the interest rate and time. The interest rate is a variable that most of us are affected by, whether as investors or borrowers. Even if we have no debts or assets, the impact of interest rates on the economy will affect us because the interest rate indirectly influences inflation through domestic demand for goods and services and its effect on the exchange rate. Learning all about mathematics as a tool in finance helps us know and understand the computations and their impact on the society and the economy.
This is player number 106, and I will be tackling the things we need to know about compound interest. The value of compound interest is accumulated from the principal amount and the accumulated interest on the previous periods. This grows faster than simple interest, which only calculates from the principal amount. And compound interest can be compounded daily, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually, depending on which period is given. The rate varies on how long the deposit lasts. So the longer the period, the higher the number of compounding value. Because the interest also grows another interest together with the interest of the principal amount. The money grows like a miracle. Let's say you will deposit to a time deposit for your retirement amounting 1 million pesos, and you will let it sleep for 30 years with an interest rate of 7% compounded annually. In 30 years' time, you will be receiving 7,612,255 pesos. So this is because you're also calculating the interest of the previous interest that was accumulated in the previous period. So it really grows like a miracle, as what I've said earlier. And compound interest is significant to us people. This can help us understand how money works and how we can make it work for us. So learning stuff like this can help us become more financially literate. In that case, we will be more knowledgeable in handling our finances, especially on how we can make it grow without having to exert much effort. And I hope you get to learn a little things about compound interest from me in this video particularly. And thank you so much for lending me your time, and that would be all.
Don't move. Kidding. Wonderful explanation you got there, player 106. Compound interest is indeed interesting, huh? Anyway, hello, I am player 629, and now we are moving on to the next topic, which is the maturity value. And now it's not the maturity of a person, if that's what you're thinking. Kidding aside, maturity value is a concept in financial mathematics that refers to the amount due and payable to the holder of the financial obligation as of its maturity date. The term usually refers to the remaining principal balance on a loan or bond. Now you might be wondering on how to calculate for the maturity value, right? Well, maturity value formula for simple interest is A is equals to P plus I, where A is the maturity value, P is the principal, and I is interest. This formula can be used for loans and investments. When used for a loan, A is the total amount to be repaid to the lender. This sum is called the maturity value of the loan. Let's have an example. Let's say we're calculating for the maturity value of simple interest for an 8-month loan of 8,000 pesos if the interest rate is 9.75%. Now, how do we calculate that? Simple. First step is to find the interest using the simple interest formula. All you have to do is substitute the values to the formula. The formula for the simple interest is I is equals to PRT. So when we substitute the values, P is equals to 8,000 pesos, R is 9.75%, and we have to turn that into decimal. And lastly, the time period, or T, is equals to 8 months, or 8 over 12. So when we calculate all of that, I is equal to 8,000 multiplied to 9.75 multiplied to 8 over 12. And the answer would be 520. Therefore, the interest is 520. Next is to calculate for the maturity value using the maturity value formula. Just substitute the values 8,000 and 520 into the formula. Hence, A is equals to 8,000 plus 520. And we would get the result 8,520. Therefore, the maturity value of the loan is 8,520 pesos. See? It's simple, and you have to remember that because it is essential to be able to calculate for maturity value, especially when you're running a business. Hence, it's crucial to be able to calculate maturity value in order to figure out how much a company will have to pay when the note comes due. That would be all. Thank you, and let's go to the next lesson.
Greetings. I am John Russell de Lima, Player 123. And now, I will confer the definitions and the application of the present value in relation to the amount of the compounded formula. According to many, especially in finance field, the present value is arguably the most useful concept in finance. Whereas if you know its fundamentals, you will not have any trouble in understanding the net or the profitability present value and the discounted amount of cash. In its denotation, the present value is the current worth of a future sum of money or stream of cash flows given a specified rate of return. Moreover, the present value can also be represented as the principal in the compound formula. Thus, present value provides the basis when it comes to assessing the fairness of any future benefits or liabilities, and it simplifies the possible money to be invested. In order to know its future value depending on the given rate. For an example, as an investor, Anna received 5,000 pesos today, and she can earn the rate of return if it is 5% per year. The 5,000 pesos she received today represents the present value, which will certainly be worth more 5 years from now. When it comes to finding and solving for the present value, the formula is P is equal to A over the quantity of 1 plus R over N raised to N and T. Whereas the P represents as the original amount or principal invested, A is the compound amount, R is the interest rate, N is the number of compounding periods per year, and T is the number of years. Now, for example, in a simple problem, the question is, what is the present value of 50,000 pesos due in 7 years if money is worth 10% compounded annually? If we simplify the amounts of the problem, the principal invested is 50,000 pesos. The time is 7 years. The number of compounding periods is 1, as it is stated in the problem as annually, and 10% or 0.1 is the annual interest rate. Therefore, this means that the principal value or the original amount invested is 25,657.91 pesos. Furthermore, the significance of computing the present value is it allows the investors to judge and weigh if the price paid or the investment was appropriate. The essence of mathematics plays a big role when it comes to the field of financing, for it creates a broad point in creating organization, and it helps to generate proper and appropriate financial management, especially in businesses. Besides, the financing also establishes innovation, and the reason that it allows the creation of ideas in order to form new materials, which contributes to the economic market and its development. Furthermore, financing represents the backbone and the foundation of businesses, for it assists the businesses to improve, grow, and to compete in the market.